Hello, welcome back. Today we will be learning to solve multi-step equations with variables on both sides. Go ahead and fill in your table of contents, equations with variables on both sides. I'm on page 35 and 36. Okay, our steps for solving multi-step equations with variables on both sides are very similar to the ones we've already gone over. We need to distribute if necessary, combine like terms that are on the same side. Move all the variables to one side. In other words, combine like terms on opposite sides. Move all the constants on the other side. And then we want to solve the equation by isolating the variables. So using our inverse operations to move the constant and coefficient. Feel free to pause the video to write down your steps. Okay, looking at our first example, I'm going to go ahead and draw the Great Wall of Algebra. And then I'm going to go through my steps. Do I need to distribute? No, because there are no parentheses. Do I have like terms on the same side? So which means you need to check one side and then the other. So you can see on the left here I have negative 2x plus 15. There are no like terms. I don't have any like terms on the other side either. I have 4x plus 39. So now I'm going to move all the variables to one side. So my variables here are negative 2x and 4x. I always move the smaller value. So negative 2 is less than 4. And whenever we cross the Great Wall of Algebra, we have to use the inverse operation. So I have a negative sign here, so the opposite of that is a positive or a plus. So I'm going to add 2 on both sides. So a negative 2 and a positive 2 give me 0. I'm left with 15 on the left. And then when I add 4x and 2x, I get 6x. And then I have plus 39. Okay, now we're moving the constants, or in other words, using inverse operation to move 39. So I'm going to subtract 39 because it's a positive right now. So the opposite of that would be to make it negative. 15 minus 39 is negative 24. And I have equals 6x. So my last step here is to divide by that coefficient. So I'm left with x. X is now isolated, and negative 24 divided by 6 is negative 4. Pay close attention to your negative signs. And then whenever we finish solving an equation, we need to check our answer. So here, I'm going to have negative 2. Wherever I see x, I'm going to plug in negative 4. And then I have 4 times negative 4 plus 39. When we are checking a multi-step equation with variables on both sides, we need both sides of this to be the same. That's how we know we solved it correctly. So we're going to work this out. So negative 2 times negative 4 is a positive 8 plus 15. So that's what I have on the left. 4 times negative 4 is a negative 16 plus 39. So that's what I have on the right. So now I'm going to add 8 plus 15 is 23. Negative 16 plus 39 is also 23. So because I got 23 on both sides of this equation, I know I solved it correctly. Let's move on to the next example. So again, I'm going to use the Great Wall of Algebra. The more complicated the problems are, the easier this is to just keep me organized. I don't need to distribute. I don't have like terms on the same side. So if we look at these separately, at 3x plus 9, there's no like terms there. 6x minus 12, there's no like terms there. So now I'm going to combine the variables on both sides here. So I'm going to move the smaller one. So in this case, it's 6x. 6x is smaller than 13x. And anytime we cross the Great Wall of Algebra, we have to change the sign. Okay, I need this to be 0 over here. So 6 minus 6 is 0. 13 minus 6 is 7x. So now we're going to bring everything else down. Okay, now I'm going to move that constant. So it's a plus 9, so the opposite of that would make it minus. Whatever I do to one, I'm going to come over and do to the other side. So now I have 7x equals a negative 12 minus 9 is a negative 21. And we're going to divide by 7. So we get x equals negative 3. Okay, we need to check our answer. So I have 13 times negative 3 plus 9 equals 6 times negative 3 minus 12. Okay, 13 times a negative 3, you might need to use your calculator if you're not sure what that is. Again, it's totally okay to type this in your calculator to check your math, okay, especially in a check. So this gives us negative 39 plus 9. On the other side, I've got 6 times negative 3, which is negative 18 minus 12. So I get negative 30. This is a KCC, which also gives me negative 30. So this worked. Okay, example 3. This one I'm not going to use the Great Wall of Algebra, just in case if that's your preference. So let's take a look at this one. So, do I need to distribute? No. Do I have like terms on the same side? So if I'm checking sides, okay, I have no like terms there. On the right, I have like terms. I've got 10x and negative 4x. So the first thing I need to do is put that together. So I'm going to have 13x minus 5 equals, and then 10x minus 4x is 6x. So we get 6x plus 37. Okay, our next step is to put the variables on the same side. So my variables are 13x and 6x, and I need to move them on the same side. I want to move the one that is smaller. So in this case, 6x is smaller. So I'm going to subtract 6x, because I need to use inverse operations anytime I cross the equal sign. So 6 minus 6 is 0. 13 minus 6 is 7x. So I get 7x. I need to bring everything else down. Minus 5. On the other side, I have 37. So now I'm going to add 5, because this became a two-step equation. So we move the constant. 37 plus 5 is 42. And then I divide by 7. So we get x is 6. So now we want to check our answer. I'm probably not have enough space right there. Okay, so we have 13 times 6 minus 5 equals 10 times 6 plus 37 minus 4 times 6. Okay, so I'm gonna multiply 13 times 6. Again, you might need your calculator, so is 78, so I get 78 minus 5 on the left. Let's see, we have 60 plus 37, and then minus 24. Okay, and I'm just going to erase this so it doesn't get involved in there a little bit. All right, 78 minus 5 gives me 73. 60 plus 37 minus 24 also gives me 73. You can check that in your calculator, but that means we solved it correctly. Okay, this next problem I do need to distribute. I need to distribute this 12 because I see parentheses, so I'm going to bring everything down I haven't used. So I've got 6. I'm going to write it a little bit further over here. So 6 plus 12x plus 36, because 12 times 3 is 36, equals 7x plus 30 plus 6x. Notice I didn't do anything with anything else. So now I'm looking for like terms. So I'm looking on the left here. I do have like terms. 6 and 36 are like terms. And if I look on the right, I also have like terms 7x and 6x. So I need to put those together. So I have 12x, and then 36 plus 36 is 42. So I'm going to get 42. On the other side, 7x plus 6x is going to be 13x plus 30. Okay, now I want to put the variables together. So I'm going to do that by moving the smaller one. So my smaller one is 12x. It's positive, so I'm going to make it negative because I'm crossing that great wall of algebra. So those would cancel. So I get 42 equals, and this is going to give me 1x plus 30. Now, if you need to write the 1 there, that's fine. But it's going to be easier if you don't, because remember, 1x and x are the same thing. So that saves us a step. Okay, so now I'm going to subtract 30, because I'm moving the constant. So 42 minus 30 is 12. And notice that's already x, so I don't need to divide by 1, so it saves me a step there. And then we need to check our answer. I'm just going to do one side at a time. So here we have to do inside the parentheses first. So 12 plus 3 is 15. And then I need to multiply 12 times 15. Again, you might need the calculator for that. It's 180. So 6 plus 180. So this becomes 186. So that's the left. So now let's try the right here. So we have 7 times 12 plus 30 plus 6 times 12. 7 times 12 is 84. And then 6 times 12 is 72. And if we add them all up, again, you'll use your calculator for this. And you should get 186. I was using my calculator as well because I wanted to check my answers because that's what this is for. So 186 equals 186, so that works. Okay, our last problem here. Notice this time I need to distribute not once, but twice. So I end up with 6x plus 3, because 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 1 is 3, and now I'm going to distribute that 5, so 5 times x is 5x, 5 times 4 is 20, pay attention to that negative sign. Now we need to put together like terms. So I've got 5x and 6x, so I'm going to subtract 5x because it's smaller. Again, we're going to get 1x, but we don't need to write that, so we're just going to write x. And then bring everything else down. Okay, now I'm going to subtract 3 because I'm going to move this constant. So I end up with x equals negative 23. And then we check our answer. So I get 3 times 2 times negative 23 plus 1. We need it to equal 5 times negative 23 minus 4. Okay, so we're going to multiply first. So 2 times 23 should give us a negative 46. On the other side, I'm going to KCC here. Actually, let me change that color. So I'm going to have 5. Negative 23 plus a negative 4 is going to give me a negative 27. Okay, I need to go back over. So I get 3 times negative 45. 5 times negative 27. Probably need to type that in your calculator. It's going to give me a negative 135. Or I'm sorry, yes, 135. So we need 3 times negative 45 to also be negative 135. And that's what you should get. So this worked. So we solved it correctly. Okay, at this time, if there were any questions you had, please make sure you get those answered and you can move on to your assignment for today. Remember to show all your work and check your answers.